Welcome back to the Let's Glow Show. It's Amanda Sweet, the creative fairy godmother, and every single week we talk to a creative entrepreneur and business owner in the city of Detroit and beyond that are paving their own ways for themselves and their communities. And this week we have a very special guest and a new friend of mine. I want to welcome Natalie, the executive director of Green Living Science, to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Yay. Thank you so much for being here. So, well, I have to address the elephant in the room. Are you the founder of Green Living Science?
I'm not the founder.
Okay.
I can give more if you want, but yeah, I'm actually just the third executive director.
Okay. So Green Living Science has been around for a little while. Tell us a little bit about Green Living Science, and then we'll get into all the juicy details about you.
Yeah. So Green Living Science actually started as a project of Recycle Here, the city's drop-off recycling facility, which if you are a creative or an entrepreneur, it is a really, really unique space that you should check out. Lots of art, lots of music, reuse of materials, great things, and nice creative space. But the owner of Recycle Here started going into schools, doing assemblies with students, teaching them about the importance of reduce, reuse, recycle. And then Green Living Science was born. So Lauren Cooper is our founder, along with Matt Naimi. And then there was an executive director before me when I started, which I only started as an AmeriCorps Vista, which, if you're not familiar, is like Peace Corps in America. You're doing something in your own backyard. So I was in AmeriCorps, and here I am now. So yeah, it's been a fun journey. And Green Living Science, we're celebrating our 15-year anniversary this year.
That's amazing. Okay. So I just have to say this for Detroiters. If y'all have been to Lincoln Street Art Park, if you've been to one of those parties, then you know where Green Living Science is and you know where Recycle Here is. Like Recycle Now is like they're the same, they share a wall, right?
Yes.
Like y'all are in that.
Yep.
Okay. Amazing. And now they're calling that Event Space Dream Detroit, correct?
Yep, Life is a Dream, Troy. And then there's the freezer space, which a lot of people have been to, probably.
Heck yeah. I love it. Amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
So you were in AmeriCorps. Are you from Michigan originally?
Yep, born and raised. My family all came here to work for Ford, so I'm a Ford baby through and through, and that's how I came to Michigan.
I love that. And then when you decided to do the program, did you see yourself in a leadership position? Like, how did you get from there to here?
Yeah, a lot of imposter syndrome happened along the way. I didn't think I was ready. For me, I am a very passion-driven person. So, when I was in college, I found things that brought me joy. When I graduated, I got a job offer. I'll never forget this. I got a job offer right out of college to be a headhunter for like $50,000. And at that time, 2010 was kind of like, wow, that's a lot of money. And I was like, that would not bring me joy. So I turned it down, waited for new opportunities, and the nonprofit world really is what spoke to me, and sustainability. So yeah, that kind of put me on my path. At the time that I applied to be the director, because our old director, Rachel, was moving on to other things. I was certainly not ready, but I knew that I was the right person to do the job. So here I
Yeah.
am.
Okay. So this is I want to go on a tangent for our friends who want to stay within nonprofit organizations or within corporate organizations and they apply for a job that they're not ready for, right? What were some of the things that you grew through to feel more comfortable and confident? Because, like me meeting you, you're like, yeah, I'm the executive director, da 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 da. I'm just living my life. And you've built a name
Yeah.
for yourself in the city. Like, what advice do you have for some of our friends trying to grow up in their companies?
Yeah. For me at the time, I was actually, um, the timing was perfect because I was actually going through a leadership program through MSU Extension called Great Lakes Leadership Academy, not with any intention of becoming the executive director. It was just to help me grow. And so surrounding myself with other leaders really helped. Networking, finding mentors, people who I could, be vulnerable with, who I could be honest with and say, hey, I'm scared. I don't know what I'm doing. What do I
Mhm.
do? And then working past that imposter syndrome, like convincing myself and believing that, I'm here because other people believed in me. Um, and then even just along the way, because actually I became the executive director in 2018 and we hit the pandemic 2 years later, and I was the only staff person. I was the only
What?
staff person, and I was like, definitely never navigated this before. What do I
No.
do? How do I get money? How do I do these things? And so I just like found every kind of workshop I could do or webinar, anything that would like help me convince myself again that like I can do this and I can believe in myself. And I had to like work through my own sort of mantras to help me do that. And
Mm,
it's like I have some that are like you grow through what you go through. That's a big one for me. And isn't an
mhm.
assumption, like reminding yourself that like we might be just making assumptions like this person doesn't like me, or if I ask them for money, they're going to say no. Like I'm just assuming that and I'll never know until I try.
Oh my goodness. Okay, there's so much stuff in there. Like, I mean, while you were on this like pandemic island by yourself, that sounds like, you're doing intrapreneurship. So you had to figure it out. You didn't have anybody to lean on.
Yeah.
If God forbid that we end up in this situation again, but let's say, because that's very much like the founder syndrome. They're in this business by themselves. They have to convince people that they're worthy. They have to do these things. If you were to go back, what advice would you wish you knew at the beginning that you learned at the end of the pandemic?
Oh, I don't know. That's kind of a hard one because I feel like I learned like all these pieces along the way, and that's what helped me get to the end. So I mean, I think I would never want to go through that experience again.
No.
Hopefully, and never, and hopefully anyone listening here today doesn't have to do that. But I think, a big thing, and I take this and carry this with me in my whole life is you just got to trust your gut.
Mm,
If something isn't feeling right, or if you have to make a hard decision, if it doesn't feel right, it's probably not the right decision.
yeah.
Or you have to ask yourself in that moment, like, do I need to be vulnerable here and accept that this is a decision I have to make? So for me,
Mm,
I went, it was there were three of us on the team, and it went down to just myself. And it was, a couple of hard decisions that had to be made. Conversations about merging with other nonprofits had to be had. But when it
mhm,
when it came to the time to make those decisions, it didn't feel right for me. And I was
mm.
like, I don't think this is right. It's not the right time. We were also
Yeah.
going through a rebrand at the time, and we
Right.
were doing stakeholder engagement. And I was like, this isn't feeling very authentic. Like
No.
we're on Zoom with all these people that we want to get their opinions. We want to hear like their, how they feel about our organization and what do we do for them. And it just, all of it, I had to lean on my gut. So that I guess is what I had to learn to trust along the process. But at the end, in looking back, I'm really grateful that I did trust my gut.
Mm. Okay, so it's post lockdown, it's post rebrand. What does Green Living Science do on the ground day to day? Because I don't know, like I've been in the sustainability community for a long time and I have never heard of you. And
Yeah.
also, I say this all the time too, like I'm a party girl and a party planner that has become a part of the recycling sustainable community. So I have a lot to learn always. But like,
Yeah.
what do y'all do on the ground? Like, how can people get involved?
Yeah. So I will try to take this as slow as possible,
Let's
because it's
go.
it's in a lot of ways loaded because we do a lot. I mean, I most nonprofits say this, that we are small and mighty. We do a lot with a little, and the biggest thing that we have as an organization is passionate people who care about this work, but more importantly, care about the communities that we're serving. So the heart and soul of Green Living Science is our youth programming. So we go into schools. We bring a giant bumblebee mascot named Be Green, and they teach students from K through 8 about the importance of protecting our planet, not littering, and recycling. So for every student we engage with, we give them a voucher to sign up for a free recycling cart for their home. So beyond assemblies, we do pre-K lessons, we do one-off lessons or experiences for students. We do field trips to recycle here and to the Lincoln Street Art Park, where we're teaching students about, the how to still connect to the environment, but in an urban setting. So we talk about our green spaces. We're talking about rain gardens, pollinator gardens, like all these things you can have in your backyards or in your parks. And then our community work is the work that we do with the city of Detroit to expand curbside recycling in the city. So if you didn't already know, the city of Detroit has curbside recycling, but only 45% of residents who are eligible participate. So it's an opt-in program. You have to say, I want this, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it right. So we're not just giving everybody a cart. And actually last year we hit our 10-year anniversary of the citywide program, and we hit 100,000 carts hit the roads. So yeah, we're hitting some great milestones with that program. And also the city also does commercial recycling and multifamily recycling. So if you live in an apartment building, you can recycle. You just call us, we come out, do a walkthrough, and we provide education for tenants or for staff. And then in that same vein, the community work, we have a park stewardship program called Our Backyard Detroit in partnership with the Gilbert Family Foundation, where we are really trying to help Detroiters connect to nature. So it's called Our Backyard Detroit because not everybody has a backyard, but we have so many parks in the city of Detroit or vacant lots that have turned into community hubs. And we want Detroiters to, find ways to connect to those spaces. So we give them resources, we help them plan events, get Detroiters outdoors. Like we've had jazz bands, we've had sound bowls, healing, we've had yoga, all the things. And then we also can't do a lot of that work without our park champions and our recycling ambassadors. So, we're a small team, but we have a lot of people who support us. Okay. And the last thing that we do is
it doesn't have to be the last.
And so well, I told you it's a loaded question, but our Be Green business program. So we help businesses set up waste reduction and recycling programs. So you're a small business owner, entrepreneur, you want to be sustainable, you just don't know how. Our team can come in, connect you to a waste hauler, or help connect you to other partners who might be able to help you recycle your pre-consumer textile waste that you might have, or your chip bags, or, we have a lot of different partners in the city that we can connect to make those things happen. So we work with every kind of person in the city of Detroit, and we find ways to meet the needs that they have.
Wow, that's so much amazing stuff. And something that comes to mind is that I love how approachable you're talking about your activations and your different community work, because I think that there is a shame or a stigma when you don't know, and even for me, we just got our recycling bin. We just moved into the city. We've been in this house for a year, and I was like, where did everybody get the recycling bins from? I'm looking around, and my dad will come over and he's like, do you recycle? And I'm like, not right now. And then I had to meet you, and then I went on the website, and then I saw the pop-up, and I'm like, oh, we have to do a quiz. I could do a quiz. That's easy. But also there was a part of me in my body that was like, I'm embarrassed to say that I don't know. Right. And so if I'm feeling that way, I'm sure a bunch of people are feeling that way. And you make it so approachable and so simple, but also there's not a big barrier. I am curious what you wish more Detroit residents and beyond, just people in general and communities in general, what do you wish they knew about recycling?
Well, a big motto that we have in our office is you don't know what you don't know. And so for us, it really is just that introducing people and exposing them to understanding and connecting the dots of how these small things, something like recycling, throwing things away, something not important to many families, how it impacts them. So for me, I think more importantly, getting people to recycle is easy. It's great, but helping them understand why we do it is something I wish more people understood fully.
Mm.
So for us, in our education program with our ambassadors, everybody kind of hitting the streets and we do canvassing, we go knock on doors. We're
Yeah.
really trying to meet people where they're at. And so we know there's a digital divide. So not everybody can take the game or the quiz online,
Yeah.
So we're like, let's go to them. Or we do a lot of phone calls. We do signups over the phone. But yeah, I think for me, helping more Detroiters just truly understand why we need to recycle, why other people should recycle is important. And we kind of see it. You mentioned like low barriers. Recycling is probably the lowest barrier to entry sustainable thing families could do. We get you a cart for free. And all we're asking you to do is instead of putting this in the trash can, put it here instead.
Right.
And now all of a sudden people are being mindful of something in their life. So yeah, it's a low hanging fruit opportunity for people to start thinking sustainably.
Mm. And that's what, like, when people ask me about the revamp and our mission, I'm like, I started because I just wanted to get free clothes. Little did I know it was like not going to be free in labor, but it is a low-hanging fruit. It's something that we consume all the time, and we're told to
Mhm.
consume more and more of it at a faster pace. And for me, it was low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
But in the process of building this organization, I'm like, what else can I do? And a lot of our volunteers, like I say this all the time, like revamp is the gateway drug to recycling, like
Yep.
recycling lifestyle. But I am curious, like, what is the answer to the why? Like you said, I wish people knew why it was important and why it was impactful. Like, what's your answer to that, or the organizations? I don't know if there's like one answer, but what do you
You
feel?
know, there isn't just one answer because there's recycling is such uh it's multifaceted. There's so many different elements. I mean, the first element is the fact that all of these materials that we use every day come from nature, right? So
Mhm.
like trees make our paper and our cardboard, and we're all, shopping on Amazon and buying things. And, now instead of recycling it, if I just put it in the trash, it's going to go end up in a landfill. And we have landfills all over. They they produce methane gas, and we have to figure out how to capture that, and we're turning it into energy, which is great. But how many landfills can we have? I mean, in the state of Michigan, in the lower peninsula, we don't have any mountains. But when you go to a landfill, which I encourage everybody, if you have the opportunity, it's very eye opening.
How can you
When
go
you
to
stand,
one?
you can
Like,
usually just call them, reach out. Maybe they would do it if you could pull a group together. I am the chair of the Recycling and Waste Reduction Committee for Detroit City Council's Green Task Force, and we host one
mm,
once a year. So,
we would
anyone
love to come.
interested, hit me up. Um,
Yes.
but that is when you go on the top of the trash mountain, and you look out, you can see like 5 other trash mountains.
Mm.
And it's really eye-opening that like this is trash. We're just throwing things away every day.
Mhm.
But there's so much more to it when you think about circular economy, which a lot of people don't even know what that term is. It's actually
Yeah.
new,
I was
a
gonna
new
ask you if you
concept.
could explain to us what circular economy is.
Yeah. So, when we think about from manufacturing to trash, like it's just linear, right? It just goes boop
Right.
into the landfill. But when we talk about recycling, all right, we're making it, we're taking it out of nature, we're making things out of it, we're using it, and then we're remaking it into new things so that we can do
Mhm.
that whole process again. Make it, reuse it, so it's not going in landfill. We're giving things second lives, which is
Mhm.
really important because we all see the trash that's in our oceans. We see what's happening in other parts of the world, in other countries. We Many people have probably heard of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which
Mm.
is the same size as Texas or 3 times the size of Texas. We have a trash problem in the world.
Yes.
But a lot of people like out of sight, out of mind. Like if it's not impacting you directly, why do you care? So in Detroit,
Mhm.
one of the things that we talk about is litter prevention. We talk about like, everyone wants to live in a clean community. And the city of Detroit has a sustainability action agenda. And they did a survey with 6,000 families. And come to find out, number 2 behind safety is clean neighborhoods. So people want to be in safe and clean neighborhoods. Like, it's not much to ask for, right? As far as we know. But that's what Detroiters need and want. So we're working to achieve that.
My gosh. I would not love to, but I really want to see a landfill. So if there's a way that we can do that, because like, and I keep tying it back to my personal experience, like at the revamp, like this last one in January was beautiful. And we brought in more pounds of product than we've ever seen. We brought in 16,000 pounds. And there was many moments in the festival itself where it was like, we didn't have enough volunteers for the volume of clothes that we were getting in. And we were building this like wall of garbage bags. And like the ceilings were like 10 feet high. Right. And every time I looked, it was like getting taller and taller. And that's just like a drop in the bucket compared to like what a whole city or a multitude of cities is experiencing. And we're just seeing it for a day with just 700 people. And like, that's a lot of people, but it's not that many. And it's one singular day. And so in those moments, I try to like actually see it and look at it and understand what the work is and what the problem is. And I can't even imagine what a landfill would feel like in reality. Like, just how do you combat the overwhelming feeling of like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. There's so much we have to do. We're not even doing, because I feel that like I'm not doing enough.
Yeah. There's a whole pie and we can only focus on one piece of it, So for us, achieving that end goal we know is down the road. Most nonprofits, our goal is to find a way to like get ourselves out of business, right? Like we want to make sure those problems don't exist anymore and we don't have to work on them. So we really just focus on like the education element. Like everything we do, it comes back to education. So we're educating the community members, we're educating youth, we're educating businesses, we're just helping them all understand why this is important and then how to do it and making it simple, achievable, and not something too complex for people. You look at other communities like Ann Arbor or Portland, like all these other places that have like more of a reputation of being sustainable. They've been doing these things since the 80s or earlier. We'll get there. We've only been doing this for 10 years. So,
crazy.
And I think the stat is like in 2006, Detroit was the largest municipality to not have a recycling program. And then we got Recycle Here in 2007. We started doing pilot recycling programs in different neighborhoods. So it's been being worked on for the past 20 years.
Sure.
But, we're finally starting to see some impact from the last decade due to like a lot of our education efforts. And starting with the kids is so important. They're the ones who go home, convince their family that this is important and something that they need to do. And they really are our ambassadors. They're the ones who are making it happen.
And I hear your little one in the background. Don't even worry about
that.
I know.
I was just going to tell my husband to come close the door.
Tell him to close the door. No, it's all good. Or we could take a quick pause and you can go tackle the little one that's making their feelings known.
You know what? Let me just go close that door. It'll be fine. Hold on one moment.
Yep. All right. And we're back. We're talking to Natalie, the executive director of Green Living Science. And I have to say this, there was an episode I did many moons ago with one of my friends, Pam. She's amazing. She's got a 3-year-old and he hung out on the whole show, like the whole show. And we still work through it. And this is the reality of being not only a woman in leadership, but being a mother and a family person, like someone with kids. Like this is just the reality of the life that you're living and such an important piece that you don't have to apologize for. Like you're a woman, you're a mom, you're a leader, you're a wife, you're doing all the things and you're still saving the world and you're doing whatever you got to do to make your 2.5-year-old stop crying or not.
Yes, that is the hardest part of being a leader, or running an organization, and also trying to find that balance, because I some people like to be stay-at-home moms. That
Yeah.
is not for me. Like I mentioned before, I'm very passion driven. Like, I need to have purpose in my life,
Mm.
and my purpose is now both of the things. So how do I balance being a mom and being, going to work? So actually on Monday this week, our childcare we had to switch some things around because people were sick, and my son Ezra, he's turning 2. He had to come to work with me from 1 to 5, but my team is so supportive. They understand because they don't have children themselves, and they're like, it must be hard. Bring them
Yeah.
in. It's fine. And so I'm actually so grateful for people who are understanding, because parenthood is a lot harder than I actually thought it was.
I can't even imagine because I'm barely taking care of myself. And I'm
Same.
like the weird thing to me is people that are not understanding of the fact that like we are humans bringing humans into the world, and you were a baby at one point. Like, how can you not be sympathetic or understanding or empathetic to someone who is having childcare problems or is a single parent or whatever the case may be?
Yeah.
Like, especially if you need to do both things, like having a job
Right.
because you have to feed your child.
Yep.
It's a weird stigma. I don't understand it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just waiting for free daycare. That would be great.
That would be lovely. Like, we need to tackle that problem. How do we do that? And I think, like, I was, so by day, I am the director of ecosystem development for Bamboo. And as we're building new ones, I'm like, what does it have? What will we have to do to like build a daycare in?
Oh, that'd be amazing.
There's a lot of stuff that you have to do, like at the business
Yeah.
level, to build a daycare into anything. And so they were like,
Yeah.
that's a good question that we're not gonna that's a good question
Yeah.
that we're not gonna worry about. Like, I'm like,
I
okay,
know. Yeah.
fair.
Well, you know what? At least there are people who are thinking about it and mindful, because if the opportunity comes up again later, maybe, you can put that idea in the room. But yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, it's a problem that, some people are fortunate to have a lot of family, or they have financial resources to just
Yes.
send them off to daycare. Like, again, for me, it's a balance. I'm working at a nonprofit and I have a kid, so I can't send them off every day.
Well,
So
and
here we
like
are.
when we were family planning, and like on the show, people know this, and this is not to be like, oh, but we were pregnant in 2 years ago, and unfortunately, we lost the baby. But in that process of like, oh my God, I'm pregnant, I need to like figure out my life. Like, we were
Yeah.
looking into daycare, we were looking into childcare, and if we came to full term, thank God I was looking that early because there's like a
Yeah.
6 month waiting list and it's like double our rent. Like,
Yeah.
what? It doesn't
That's
even,
why some people stay home. I mean, it's like, do
yeah,
I pay a nanny full time, 40 hours a week, a whole salary, or daycare?
yeah.
Or do I, so
Do I just,
we make
yeah,
it work.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's so challenging. And like, it's refreshing to be able to talk about it too in a way that's not like, there's no judgment here, and so like
Yeah.
a lot of women listen to the show. I have a lot of women in my community, and there are those feelings, those real feelings that I'm like, I can't do this, or I have to do this or this. I can't be
Yeah.
this version of myself and be a parent, or I'm trying to do both and it just feels impossible. So I don't
Yeah.
know. Do you have any advice for some of our moms that are like thinking about leadership positions or even like
Yeah.
business ownership and being in this, like, you're the head of this organization? That's a lot of things to do, a lot of
Mhm.
responsibility.
Yeah, one of the things that really helped me get through this was I found other women in executive director roles, and we meet a couple of times, like a month or every other month, and we call ourselves the boss moms, and we really just talk about, that vulnerability, like how to be vulnerable with your team. Like, it's okay to leave early because your kid needs to be picked up from daycare or school. It's
Mhm.
okay to stay home because your child is sick. And for me, and I'm still working through that, is like that getting over that, because I try to show up for my team
Mhm.
as much as I can, and kind of like lead by example. That's always been a huge thing for me. And so reminding myself that it's okay to do those things, but having other women tell me it's okay who are in the same situation. For whatever reason, it just feels different when it's from people who are in the same boat as you,
Yeah,
to say those
100%.
things. Like, I like my husband saying it's fine is one thing, but
Yeah,
another executive director who has to leave at 3:30 every day because her child has to be picked up from daycare, like that, it's okay.
yeah.
So I would suggest, like, find other moms or parents in similar positions to you that can understand you, connect to you.
Mhm.
I'm a big Facebook groups person. I know, like,
Yeah,
that ages me because everyone else likes Instagram more, but
yeah.
I guess Facebook groups are my Reddit to some
Mm,
people.
mhm.
And so I'm in a bunch of executive director Facebook
Oh,
groups, and nonprofit groups, and but also mom groups too. So, I'm able to like read that other people are experiencing these same things, challenges, and here's how they overcame it, and like here's how I can overcome it too.
mm.
So, yeah,
I
find your people, find your
Yeah,
community.
you gotta build your community, and, like, I watched this video earlier on TikTok, and it was, like, just some random dude, and I was like, "It's a dude, so I'll just take it at face value," but he had a very interesting thing to say about community building, and he was like, "If you are looking for community, you should find community in that is fulfilling a need, and everybody has, like, a common goal versus, like, paying for community just for community's sake because it will fizzle out and, like, not lead anywhere." But it brought me to another conversation that I had yesterday with the Dream World ladies. Shout out to Demery, Sue Ann, and they were talking about how like we could not function. And a lot of them are moms too, business owners, and they were just like, I could not function without this, even though I sometimes feel like I don't want to go outside. Like I don't feel like going outside. I don't feel like putting pants on. I don't want to put mascara on. But also, why am I spiraling? Oh, because I need years to work through some of these things that I'm going through and have this like sweatpants moment of being like, I'm struggling. Can we work through this
Yeah.
together?
Yeah, no, finding your community, like that's the one thing. Shout out to Detroit. I feel like Detroit is a great place to find community in. I think about my sisters or my friends who live in little, in other suburb communities, and they go home, they go to the store, and they come home. They barely know their neighbors next door, and that's not the case in the city. And that's why I love living in Detroit
Oh,
and
it's
working
so
in
good.
Detroit. Yeah.
I felt that almost immediately. Labrie and I frequent Detroit even before we were living in the city, but we were like in the city every weekend. And we are like, oh, if we move closer, like we'll be able to come during the week and it'll just be a little bit easier of a trek when we were living in the burbs and we didn't know our neighbors and we lived there for 4 years. We didn't know a single neighbor. And when we moved into this house, it was like the day we were moving in, all of our neighbor, not all of them, but like three of them came out and introduced themselves to us and talked to us and got to know us. And I was like, okay, this is like an immediate, I'm like, I don't know if it's home ownership. I don't know if it's like being in Detroit. I don't know if it's like a mixture of both, but like
Yeah.
that immediately made me feel more connected and like
Hmm.
more responsible, I guess. Like
Yeah.
we go outside and like I'm like Breezy to my husband, I'm like, just do the neighbors' yards too. Like, and at
Yeah.
first he was like, I don't want to be responsible for my neighbor's snow shoveling. But I'm like,
Yeah.
you're responsible for this is our space. This is our community. And after he did it the first time, he was like, oh, that felt kind of good. I'm like, yeah,
Oh,
girl, we got grandmas on both sides. Like, come on. You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Well, it helps to build a sense of care for each other and trust and safety, and you have each other's back. The same thing with our neighbor. We actually share a driveway. We're in an old
um,
1928 home, and
yep.
our neighbor, we kind of just swap who takes the trash out, or like who shovels, or who's raking leaves. Like somehow we're always in each other's lawns, just helping each other out because
Yeah.
we share a driveway. We're that connected.
Yeah. And I'm like, we haven't brought our trash bin in weeks like really since it started snowing. And I was like, Breezy, he's like, oh, somebody brought the trash in. I was like, you know who it is. And I'm like, also like you're shoveling their sidewalk every time it snows. Like this is how reciprocity works and this is how community
Yeah.
works. And even if we're
Mhm.
not like, oh, I did this for you or I did that, it's not a tit for tat. It's like, oh, let me just.
Yeah.
And we bumped into our neighbor and he was like, I know you guys are working late all the time and I know you guys are, out and about doing stuff, so it's no big deal. And he's like, it's the least I
Oh,
could
that's
do
nice.
for shovel my. And I'm like, this is what this small gesture, something small, like you said, something small, drop in the bucket. He comes home from a long day of work and he sees that he doesn't have to shovel the snow. He could do more things with his family. He could do
Yep.
more, whatever, you know what I mean? There's like,
Yeah.
it's small, but it's impactful and it's important, just like
Mhm.
recycling. And we walk around our street and there is a lot of trash and we're always like, where does it come from? Like all of our neighbors are recycling and putting their trash out on time and taking their trash in. And I'm like, I don't understand
Yeah.
where it's coming from. Like I don't think it's coming from our neighbors, but every single time we go
Yeah.
outside there's bottles, there's chip bags, there's trash everywhere. And so we're like, I'm always like, what do we need to do as a group to fix this street?
Well, uh, there's a few things are out of our control. I mean, we've all
Yeah.
seen those windy days. I think we had
Yeah.
one, maybe a couple weeks ago. Like,
Yes, and just
those are the days I get anxiety because I already see all the trash coming out of the bins, or like if it's a trash day, everyone's carts fall over. So it may not be even like, caused
someone.
by
Yes.
someone, or it's flying out of the trucks. But I will say, and I know everyone knows this, there are still people who have that old behavior of just throwing it out the window.
Yeah.
Um, but honestly, some people, they really just do it unintentionally. It's
Yeah.
just like a thing. Like I'll never forget when I met my husband. Let me put him under the bus right now. He he was a smoker when I met him, and he took like the plastic part of the cigarette pack and went like this out the window. And I lost it. I was like, oh, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
But it was just like a habitual thing. Like even people who throw gum on the ground,
Yeah.
there's a lot of us are becoming more and more aware of like what that looks like on the sidewalks, that we don't like how it looks, that
Mhm.
we're going to hang on to it, put a piece of paper, throw it in the trash can. But we don't have a lot of public space trash cans. But I will say that is something we're working on in the city of Detroit as well. So you'll start seeing recycling bins at bus stops throughout
Ooh,
the city,
I
and
like that.
we're probably gonna put out about 500 more this year, and then a couple of 17 parks or 24 parks. Under 30 parks have it, as well as every rec center in the city of Detroit. So we're really trying to bring more public awareness to this behavior. Because again, it's changing a culture. It's like changing habits. It's just like making people more aware. And as we're educating these youth at a young age, it's just going to become a normal part of their life. Like you put
Yeah.
something in recycling or you put it in trash. And then we hope one day composting's in that mix, and
Yeah.
that, we start to see those around. And there's a news article that came out yesterday that Southfield, where you all just had the last review, they are going to have composting drop-off locations throughout the city, similar to our friends in Ferndale. So more and more cities are starting to, be mindful of that.
And it all takes the baby steps. Like when you put a trash can or recycling bin at a park, it reduces the resistance to just put it on the ground. It's a thought that happens. They do the action that is put there for them. And then once we start incorporating all of these other things, like it'll just make it so much easier. And I actually just connected with Ricky from Scrap Soils, and he said that he's got a really good relationship with y'all. And I was like, I'm talking to them tomorrow.
Oh, nice. Yep.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
we love all our composting friends. They're great.
And like, yeah, that is something I want to do. We need to like, okay, here's a good question. I'm new in my house. I need to
Mhm.
remove my entire backyard filled with broken concrete, trees growing through all of the, like all of the gates and things like that. And I'm sure that this is not an uncommon problem. Do I go to a group like Green Living Science and say, like, how do I dispose of all this stuff? Would my contractor know, like, when I find one? Because I don't have one. But you know what I mean? Like, how do I
Yeah.
go about this sustainably? Because I know we're going to have a accumulate a lot of garbage, trash, recycling. So like, what do I do if I'm a homeowner and I got to do something like that?
Yeah. Well, I'll say that's not an easy task, that's for sure. I mean, even for us and me as a homeowner as well, like it's always um as much as familiar as I am with a lot of the resources, it's like it's a lot of work of like, all right, I need to find the right one. And then where do I take it? Do I have to pay to take it somewhere? Can
Mhm.
someone come and pick it up for me? So really doing that sort of to that kind of scale, it takes a lot of effort and initiative and determination to like get that done. The easiest thing to do is just to throw it away, right? And like
Yeah.
have your contractor take it, get a dumpster and put it in there.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that to say no shame. Like you do what you can do because we all are busy or we don't have the financial resources for it. Like we all do the best we can. So you know, if you have a lot of broken cement, you could call like one of those soil yards and ask them if they want the
Mm.
aggregate material. Like, is this something that they can recycle?
Hmm.
You know, you can find like local gardens if you have a lot of soil that you need to get rid of. You know,
Mm.
then they might say, "Is it contaminated? We need to check." So there's just so many
Interesting.
elements. My team, though, as much as it's not like something we're experts in, we're happy to help.
But you already helped me in a couple of ways that like I didn't even think about. So you call what did you
Yeah.
call for the cement? You said a word that a collection of words that I've never heard before. Was it
Oh, I called it aggregate material. But yeah, you could
even
call
before
like
that? Like
oh, what did I call it?
who can I call to take the cement?
I think I said a soil company,
Okay. Yeah,
like
like
someone
I
that
didn't
sells
even
topsoil or
sure. I didn't even think about that. So that is like already helpful because like as I'm like making adjustments to my house, those are bigger drops in the bucket than like me recycling my day-to-day trash. Like how do I do this a little
yeah.
bit more? And I think this is at the end of the day, this is what it's all about, just being a little bit more conscious with your decisions. Like just every time you show up for it, it's a one of these and not like a I didn't do enough, you know?
Yeah, you know, and that's the one. All right, let me give a shout out to the Sustainability Network in the city of Detroit. I'll say that everybody supports each other. Like, if I don't have the answer to something like that, you know, maybe I can call Ricky at Scrap Soils and maybe he knows. So, one of the things that me and a couple of others have been doing the last, I guess we're going on maybe 5 years now,
Mm,
is we started a climate sustainability happy hour that we host a handful of times throughout the year. We don't it's I don't want to say low effort because we put a lot of effort in, but we don't put any logos on our flyers. We're not putting any names. We're putting it out there. We're saying, hey, do you like sustainability and want to make new friends? Come on out and hang out with us. And I have to say, I every time we host it, I am so surprised at how many new faces come to the event, not knowing a single soul there, not
mhm.
even knowing where it was or having been there before. And one of the last ones we did ended up being so wet outside and storming and cold. I didn't
Yeah.
even want to be there. I was like, I can't wait to go home in my jammies.
Yeah.
So many people still showed up. Like people
Wow.
are looking for that community and making those connections. Whether it's like
Mhm.
I work at, I don't know, a PR company, but I'm really passionate about sustainability. Like
Yeah.
coming out, there's a handful of us who love to just be little network weavers. Like, hey, you really need to come here and talk to Amanda because you're interested in textiles and clothing and, you know, things like that. Or whatever the other topic is. So
Yes.
so that is just another thing I'll just say is like the sustainability community can be so helpful. You know, I
Mhm.
people reach out to me all the time. They're like, "What do I do with my pallets? Where do I get my pallets? What do I do?" And then at halftime, I'm
Yeah.
like, "I don't know, but I will find out for you because I know I have a friend or someone who you know may be able to point me in the right direction."
Oh, I love that. And that's what it's all about. It's like, if I don't have the answer, I could be the conduit. I could just pass you to this guy and this girl and this person and just, like you said, the networking weaver. I love that. I love it.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
beautiful. All like, and all of this is like the small efforts make the biggest impact, in my opinion. And I saw it when you submitted your bio that you feel the same way. Like I always say, local change equates to global change. And I wholeheartedly believe that if everybody does their own part, like we will see a ripple, we will see the impact. And so I am grateful for all the work that you're doing. And I'm excited for our journey to like just be beginning. Like we're just getting started, Natalie. Like we got
Yep.
a lot of stuff to do together.
I know. I'm really excited to find ways to partner and work together. Like we can make magic happen.
Oh, we will. There's no doubt about it in my mind. Oh, I love it.
Yep.
And I love learning about your journey too. Like it's so inspiring to know that you started as a volunteer and like have found yourself in this leadership position at a company that's doing major things for the youth and the community as a whole here in Detroit. So I am so proud of you.
Thank you so much. I have to say, I love my job. Like I've been here 13 years this year, and I wish more people would just find the thing that brings them joy. Like connect your passions to your purpose and live it out. So, if I could leave with that, do something you love. Don't go to work and hate your life every day. There's so much more meaningful jobs out there. Sometimes you just got to meet the right people to make it happen.
100%. I love that. Okay, well, I have two more questions, and you kind of answered the second one. But first question is,
Okay.
how can we find you? How can we connect with you on socials? Like, where's the best place to find you on the internet and get involved with you and Green Living Science?
Yeah, well, the first place I'll say is our website, so greenlivingscience.org. We're also pretty active on Instagram and Facebook. So Green Living Science on Instagram, GLS Detroit on Facebook, and then myself. I'm not a big poster, but I'm a lurker, I guess we'll call it. I'm always on social media, but you can
Feel
find
that.
me on my LinkedIn. Start there. But yeah, again, like I'm not hard to find, but if anyone's interested in connecting, start with the website. My email's right on there, and I'm happy to connect with anybody.
Yay. And then my second question was, what is one last piece of advice? So find your passion, follow that. Don't work at a job that sucks. Like that's yes, yes, that part.
Yes.
But if you
Yeah,
had another one.
yeah, I mean, let me end with like you grow through what you go through. I think I had one of my best friends who I used to work with at Green Living Science, shared that one with me, and it stuck with me. And I think a lot of people need to remind ourselves that it's okay to make mistakes. That's how we grow. We need to lean into being vulnerable sometimes, and then don't make any assumptions. Do the thing, and then you can learn from that experience. But a lot of my team are all new. They're either new to new nonprofit or this is their first job out of college. And these are all things that I try to instill in them because I know it can be nerve wracking. You could be scared. You could have imposter syndrome. Like, what am I doing here? I don't know what I'm doing. You do. And it's okay to like make those mistakes so that you can learn from them for next time.
Natalie, thank you so much. I am so grateful and thankful that we got to spend this time together and you got to share all these words of wisdom with our amazing listener here today. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I had fun. This is great.
I'm so
Thank
glad.
you. And
I'm so
and
glad.
happy Valentine's Day or
Yes.
Love Month, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
Thank you again.
Of course. And thank you for watching. Like I said, every single week we bring together creative entrepreneurs and business leaders in the community to share little words of wisdom and life advice with you. So thank you. Reach out to Natalie if you're interested in sustainability in the city of Detroit. And if she can't help you, she's got a friend that can. And if you're interested in getting involved with textile diversion and content creation, we're looking for brand ambassadors for the revamp right now for the spring festival. So I'll put the link below and come kick it with us. Anyways, it's Amanda Sweet, the creative fairy godmother, and we'll see you on the next Let's Glow show. Bye.
Bye.